Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2 and I'm back again with another movie review. Well, recently I got to see Wreck-It Ralph and I have to admit I absolutely ate this movie up. I loved it from the beginning to the end, and I will have to say it is an existentialist movie concerning Ralph and his desires, and I won't go into that, but it's just a tremendous film, and the plot is very basic, but there are some twists and turns along the way that I really enjoyed. And being a Glee fangirl and hearing the voice of Jane Lynch made me extremely happy. And another thing that made me happy was the Sugar Rush theme song, because I'm a bit of an otaku, and I'll admit to that. So, throughout the rest of the week, I'm probably going to be always S-U-G-R, Sugar Rush, Sugar Rush, all week, but it was really tremendous, and just everything about it, the backgrounds, the characters, the animation, CGI, all that was gorgeous. And I had read in GameStop magazine that it had been difficult enough to get Bowser in the movie because, of course, Nintendo was a little bit stingy on that account. Brandon told me about that a long time ago. I have a friend who's from Indonesia who's a self-proclaimed Nintendo expert. He knows all things about Nintendo. It was something that they were able to get a contract on. They weren't able to get Mario involved. They mentioned Mario, but they didn't have the clout in order to get Mario, because Mario would have cost them a buttload of money in order to actually get him involved in the movie, like they did with Sonic. I think Sonic was easier to procure just because he's the less popular video game character. Please don't hate me, any people out there who are Sonic lovers. And I too am a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I noticed all the different cameos he had, and one of them I found very amusing. There were a lot of characters from old school video games I remember growing up with, including Tapper, and I had to explain that to my dad, and he didn't get it, and I thought, ugh. And of course there was another character that reminded me of Tapper, but I was surprised that they didn't mention him because he was actually taken from Mario himself, and Brandon introduced me to that character. I forget his name, but he looks exactly like Mario, and you would have to reach. It was basically like a digitized one-armed bandit. Basically, it's like if you see how far you can reach, and it didn't spell reach right. It actually spelled reach, R-I-C-H, which is rich. That was one of the flaws of the game itself, and it was really funny. Everything about this movie, it was cute too, and very emotional, and I loved all the characters involved, and I noticed that Sugar Rush itself was very well thought out, and as another reviewer stated, the characters were well thought out and well rounded, and I think that they're going to make a Sugar Rush game. I know that they had a Sugar Rush game online. That much I was aware of. But they'll probably make a Sugar Rush game for the different platforms that are available, and I honestly would love to play it, as I'm a fan of racers. And the whole candy thing I love, because I've got a huge sweet tooth. Ralph was a really excellent character. He's got a rather tragic story to begin with. He wants more out of his life or game than normal. and it's just that he's looking for purpose, which is me being philosophical again. Of course, he's the bad guy. He's the self-proclaimed bad guy, quote unquote, of his video game, which is a parody of Donkey Kong, if you haven't noticed. And Fix It Felix is Mario, kind of a Mario knockoff. There are characters that you get to see, and I fell in love immediately with Vanellope. I just thought that she was such a stupendous character. She has probably the most tragic backstory of all. Captain Calhoun's was pretty sad too, and I really liked her due to the fact that she was voiced by Jane Lynch, and she was just awesome. I mean, her character was not only badass, but super hot, if I can say so without sounding gay. You know, if I were a guy, I would be all over that in a millisecond. And another thing I enjoyed about this movie was the noir takeoff at the very beginning of that was called Paperman. It was a love story, and now this is me being all geeky again, but the main characters really looked like Matt Smith and Karen Gillian, which I don't know. I think a lot of people have shipped those two together, but I was thinking in my head, yeah, that could be Rory and Amy, definitely, because the hair is the same, but he looks so much like Matt Smith, it's not even funny. And he had the same expressions and everything, and I thought, ooh, the 11th Doctor. But I don't know if anybody else felt the same way I did, but I did. And I just thought it was a great story, and it was beautifully done, and I love double features, so I enjoyed that. Well, back to Vanellope. Sorry, I'm jumping around a bit, but Vanellope is a glitch, and I'm just going to say that right now. That's just a small spoiler. I'm not going to say what her story is, her origin, or all that, because that'll give away a massive plot point. There are lots of recognizable characters within the game itself. My friend, she told me that Cammy was involved, and I didn't see her. I mean, there were so many characters. Once I get the DVD, I'm going to have to go through it and just go pause, and then see if I can catch all the references, like hidden Mickeys. I used to love doing that when I was little. I still do. That's why I watch Disney movies repeatedly, so I can catch hidden Mickeys and other characters hidden within movies such as that. I got overclimped a few times, like I said, and the backgrounds of the video games themselves were just rich and colorful, detailed, and just absolutely sumptuous. And I hate to admit this, but the world of Sugar Rush looked good enough to eat. And I thought, just by looking at this, I'm going to get diabetes, but I absolutely adored it, and I give Wreck-It Ralph 2 thumbs way up, 5 stars across the board. And I think it's one of Walt Disney's better efforts, honestly. They really did an excellent job. They did their homework on video games, and they knew what they were talking about, and they developed their characters very well. And their main characters, their archetypes, Calhoun, the military type, Wreck-It Ralph, your token bad guy, Vanellope von Schweetz, your sort of tomboyish character with a heart of gold and super adorable, uber kawaii, as I would like to say. And then you have Fix It Felix, your um, protagonist with the hammer that fixes everything, and being a Whovian, I thought of that. I can fix it. But, um, let's see. What else? Uh, I'm not sure what else to say about the movie other than I loved every bit and piece of it, and the music was exceptional. The humor was great. There was one thing that they put in it at the very beginning with the um, Villains Anonymous, kind of support meeting that they had. It was kind of a takeoff on Alcoholics Anonymous, if you know anything about that. They had a character talking to Ralph about how he felt and just how underappreciated he was, and he just doesn't feel very happy. He just doesn't feel like he has a place in his game, so to speak. He just doesn't feel like he has anything to look forward to, etc. That sort of thing. Again, existentialism. I was shocked, but the way that they pulled off this particular scene with this character, I'm not going to mention for fear that people who are wanting to see the movie might think that I might give a spoiler away. I'm not. It just was something that I was, at first, I was shocked, and then I thought, oh, it's actually sweet, in a morbid kind of eerie way, but I just thought, oh. It just was one of those things that kind of made my little heart melt. I gave something away there. Oops, sorry. For those of you who know, yeah, that was just a wee glimpse, and sorry. I shouldn't have said the word heart, but kick in the pants. Sorry. But, anywho, the movie was really excellent, and I loved it, and it was just outstanding. And I'm going to be singing the Sugar Rush theme all week, but another thing I'm going to say is stay till the very, very end. For those of us who are gamers, they put in a little extra Easter egg, I would say. And it's really good. It's funny, and I enjoyed it. But I'm not sure what else to comment about Wreck-It Ralph other than it was clever, it was well done. Of course, the plot was very basic, and there were some really interesting twists and turns, but it was truly well done, and I think everybody can enjoy it. Even, well, my dad didn't really care that much for it. He just didn't get it because he's a gamer at all. He's not in video games or anything like that, so he was lost. I had to explain everything to him, which I hate doing, but if you're not a gamer, you probably won't like it. But if you are, then you're going to love it, and you're going to eat it up like I did. And you might even shed a few tears, because I know I did, especially with Penelope's story. And oh, her story is so tragic, and I love her, and I really admit that I can relate quite a bit to Penelope. Yeah, I know how she feels, but things turn out to be okay. And one of the things I heard from Brandon, and this is good news for all of you out there who have seen the film and loved it, and we're hoping maybe to have a little bit more of the same. They are making a sequel to it, which I knew was going to happen. I thought, yes, hurrah, victory, geeks shall rule the world. Well, maybe I shouldn't think that way, or I shouldn't laugh in such a form, but sometimes I just can't help myself. I have to have a little bit of triumph. It was a moment of pure exultation and exhilaration and a little bit of joviality. That's basically how I felt in that moment when I heard him tell me this. Of course, the other trailers that they had one for Despicable Me too, which I already knew about that. And they had one for the Smurfs too, which, God, kill me. I didn't even see the first one. Ugh, no, thank you. I will pass. And then they showed a trailer for The Croods, which looks absolutely incredible, and I look forward to it with bated breath, just like I do with Legends of the Guardians, which I'm going to be reviewing in the near future. I'm going to see 007 pretty soon too, so you can look forward to that. But that's basically all I have to say about Wreck-It Ralph, and I highly recommend it. Sorry, had to had to be punny. But don't miss your chance to see this great movie. It's one that the whole family can enjoy, particularly if they're gamers, because they will absolutely savor it. They will just soak in it and relish the day, because finally being a geek is pretty darn cool. It's about time.